Today, we're going to talk about something we all try to avoid like the plague, boredom. But what if I told you that running away from it is one of the worst things you can do? I mean, for your brain, your creativity, even your whole sense of purpose. Yeah, let's get into it.
So, first, let me ask you a question. Picture this. You're in a room all by yourself for just 15 minutes. That's it. You have two choices. You can either sit there and just, hang out with your own thoughts, or you can press a button that gives you a painful electric shock. It sounds like a no-brainer, right? Well, some researchers actually did this experiment.
And the results were absolutely wild. A full 67% of the men and a quarter of the women chose to shock themselves rather than just sit there and think. And get this, before the experiment, these were the same people who said they would pay money to avoid that exact same shock. That is just how much they hated the simple act of being alone with their thoughts. What does that tell us? It tells us that we are in an all-out war on boredom. And to really understand why we fight it so hard, we kind of have to figure out what boredom actually is in the first place.
So here's the official definition. See, boredom isn't about having nothing to do. Not at all. It's that feeling of being totally underwhelmed. You're restless, you can't really focus, and you look at all your options and think, none of this sounds good.
And wow, have we become masters at avoiding that feeling? Get this, something like 95% of American adults say they do some kind of fun activity every day, but only 17%, that's less than 1 in 5, say they spend any time at all just relaxing and thinking. We've managed to fill up every single empty moment.
And this, right here, is how we do it. The smartphone has basically become our pocket-sized shock button. The second we feel that tiny flicker of boredom, waiting in line, sitting at a red light, we reach for it. We press the button, and we get that little jolt of distraction to save us from the so-called pain of just being in our own heads.
But what are we actually stopping when we do that? Well, we're shutting down this really critical part of our brain's operating system. It's called the default mode network, or DMN for short. This is the network that just clicks on when you're not trying to focus on anything in particular. It's your brain's daydreaming mode. It's where your mind goes when it just wanders.
And by constantly hitting that shock button on our phones, we are missing out on some incredible stuff. It turns out, letting your brain flip into that default mode by just being bored, well, it unlocks some legitimate superpowers.
Okay, first up, creativity. There was this one amazing study where scientists gave people super boring tasks, like literally reading names out of a phone book. Afterwards, they asked them to come up with creative uses for a plain old plastic cup. And the results? The group that was the most bored was, by far, the most creative. Their minds had been wandering and making all these new weird connections.
Superpower number 2, and this one really blew my mind, is that boredom can actually make us better people. You know that aimless feeling you get when you're bored? Apparently, it triggers a search for meaning. Studies have actually shown that when you make people feel bored, they're more likely to do things like donate to charity or sign up to give blood. They're looking for something purposeful to fill that void.
And finally, boredom is absolutely essential for figuring out where you're going in life. This is where that default mode network really gets to work. It's in these quiet, empty moments that we do something called autobiographical planning. Basically, we think about our life like it's a story. We look at where we've been, and we dream about where we want to go. If we never get bored, we never zoom out to see that big picture.
So here's the deal. Boredom is powerful. It's not the enemy. But in a world that is practically designed to get rid of it, how on earth do you get it back? Well, the good news is you can start really small.
Here are a few challenges for you. Try going to the gym, but leave your phone in the locker. Just be in your head. Or on your commute, turn off the radio, turn off the podcast. Just drive. Keep all the devices away from the dinner table and actually be present with the people sitting across from you. Or, here's a big one, actually schedule 15 minutes of boredom into your day. Just sit and do nothing. It's going to feel really weird at first, for sure, but trust me, it's a muscle you can build.
Because that's what this all comes down to, really. It's a choice. And it's a choice we make dozens, maybe even hundreds of times every single day, most of the time without even realizing it. So next time you feel that itch, that pull to escape a quiet moment, just ask yourself this question. What's really happening here? You're not just checking a notification, you're not just scrolling a feed, you're actively making a choice between instant distraction and deeper reflection, between a quick, easy jolt and a real connection with yourself.
Because in the end, you are the person in that experiment. Every single time you reach for your phone to kill a moment of boredom, you are choosing to shock yourself. Except, this shock isn't just a little zap of physical pain. No, the pain goes much, much deeper, to your creativity, to your generosity, to your ability to plan the story of your own life. It's a shock to the very nature of who you are right now, and maybe more importantly, who you have the potential to become.
Subscribe to upgrade yourself daily.